Yeah, hey guys, this is Gary. I'm out here picking lonely pine needles in one of my secret honey hole picking spots. Today is the 24th of February, 2025. Why am I out here picking lonely pine needles? I sold some today. What did I sell today? I sold two-pound orders individually to two different people and one-pound order. So I sold a total of 5 pounds. Plus, I give an extra 3 ounces or so with each 2 pound order, and 2 ounces with each 1 pound order. So I sold, I guess, the total amount would be like 5.5 pounds. And right here, I just picked approximately, roughly, right around 5 pounds. And what I sold, I have home in a stockpile, so that's no problem. I'll mail that out tomorrow. I had to come out and get some to restock. So normally, what I sell them for, the 2 pound orders, I get $67.80 each for them. That's with tax and everything. And then 1 pound orders, I get $41 for it. So the more they buy, the less they pay. So I end up making on 2 pound orders, I make around between $45 and $50, right around there. And I'm going to say 45 times 2 is $90. And then on the 1 pound order, I make $27 in my pocket out of 41 after mailing and stuff, paying the website. So 27 and 90 is 117. So I made 117 selling lonely pine needles today. In my pocket, I made a gross amount of 67.80. I'll just round it off to 68 times 2 is 68 and 68, 120, 16, 136 and 40, 176, 177, 41. So I sold a total of 177 lonely pine needles, and I made in my pocket 117. Okay. Now, not only do I sell lonely pine needles, I sell books too. And I sold 5 books today. I didn't make a lot with the books. They were all low-end books. I made around, maybe roughly around $70 with the 5 books I sold, because they were all like $15, $20 books. And plus mailing. But so my real gross today was up around 200, I guess. Okay, well, let me show you these lonely pine needles. These lonely pine needles, I sell them to people that do crafts. And the crafts they do is they weave baskets, and they make placemats, and they make mats that hang on the wall. They make wreaths that go on the door. They make wreaths for every holiday, Easter, Halloween. You name the holiday, there's somebody's going to hang a wreath on a door. And and people just like to hang wreaths on the door all year long sometimes, like my wife. And people do that too. And that's okay. And they also make mats that they hang on the wall, and the mats have designs weaved into them and pictures, maybe a picture of a house weaved into the mat, and then it hangs on the wall like a piece of artwork. They weave a lot of things with these, and they sell the stuff they weave. And mainly they weave baskets, and the baskets, some of these baskets are like artwork. You'd have to Google it, and you'd have to Google longleaf pine needle baskets and see what they actually look like and watch what they go for. $50 on up to $300, $400. And some of these baskets are big and they're artwork, and people will put them in their house, and it's something to talk about. And they try to imitate the Native American Indians have been using these lonely pine needles for hundreds of years, and they weaved all kinds of stuff. And sometimes they'll try to imitate how a tribe weaved the basket, and it'll look really intricate. It'll look really nice. It's real collectible stuff, and people buy it. And it's a big market. A lot of people think this is a small market. Not a lot of people do it. Well, no, it's a big market. And I'm going to show you what I got in this white bag here. I got 3 pounds in the white bag. Now this bag here, I got approximately a pound in it, and I got a pound on top of it. So I'm showing you what a pound looks like. And a pound is $27, but mind you, a pound is $27 with an additional 2 ounces. So this right here is not quite a 1 pound order. This would be 2 ounces less. So I'll take this. This right here is probably around $22 worth of longleaf pine needles, right here. And I could pick it up with one hand, but a lot of people can't because see how big, how long these things are? Okay. So that is 2 pounds, guys. That is 2 pounds of longleaf pine needles. And I'm not gonna put them in the pig with the other ones because I can't do it with one hand. I'll have to do it after the video. So I'm just showing you that's 2 pounds total right there. 1 pound in the bag, 1 pound on top of the bag. And that's 3 pounds in that bag, so it's a total of 5 pounds. And that 5 pounds, if I sell it for $27 a pound, now mind you, I give an extra 2 ounces per pound. So this is only really gonna come out to 27 times 4 would be 180 in my pocket, and plus I'd have probably 5 or 6 ounces left over. So this would, no, it would be 180 gross. I'm sorry, it's 41 times 4 gross amount per pound. 41 times 4 is $164. Okay, my mistake. It's $164 gross. And it's 164, and what would be in my pocket would be 27 times 4 would be, that's after paying the mailing and paying the website. The website gets 10% of $41. So I would end up getting $27 times 4. I would get $108 for all these pine needles here, and plus I would have 4 or 5 ounces left over, okay, to go towards another order. Now, I have to come out here every other day and pick these. I don't film every day that I pick them, but I have to pick them basically every other day, 2 every day, because I sell a large amount of these. I sell 100 pounds a month. And so I have to have a stockpile of at least 20 pounds minimum so I could keep up with my customers. Now, I'll normally come out here for a couple hours. Like I was here for maybe 2.5 hours, probably 3 hours. I picked 5 pounds. But they're real plentiful. Right now, they're real easy to pick. Probably 2.5 hours. And when they're plentiful, you could pick them like real easy. See how plentiful they are on the ground? They're all over the place. Now, when they're not plentiful, it takes longer to pick them. But right now, this time of the year, they're very plentiful. So I'm going to show you guys, and I show you this in every video, but one longleaf pine needle, and mind you, these are 20 inches long, down to 13 inches. That's what I pick. I don't pick smaller than 13 because I like to keep my customers happy. So here you go. There's a little butt on the end, and there's 3 on that. 3 needles on one. So this one needle is 3 needles. And people weave with this. This ain't big. This is only like a 10-inch needle. Now my foot is a size 13. So like, let me get a. Here's a probably a 13-inch one. So I'm going to put this on the ground. That's on the ground right there, the 13-inch one. And I'm going to put my foot next to it. And you see my foot. And it's longer than my foot. It's probably about 14 inches long. So, because my foot is 13 inches long. And this has 3 prongs. They're all 3 prongs. Very rarely you'll get some with 2 or 4. But it's almost like getting a 4-leaf clover. But it don't happen often. 99.9% of the time, there's 3 needles on 1 needle. So there's 3 in 1. So, and I've been doing this for 5 years now. And that's how I built up a large clientele. Because I've been doing this so long. And the reason I've been doing this so long, when I first moved down here, I was raking these in my front yard. They're falling out of the trees. We got 4 trees directly in front of the house, big trees. And they were falling on the ground, and the pile was they were like a foot thick. And I was like, whoa, this is a fire hazard. I got to rake these things up. I don't like them in front of the house like this. So I started raking them. I filled up 20 bags, 20 big black bags with these lonely pine needles. The garbage man wouldn't take them. Well, we got a fire pit in the backyard. I had to drag them all around to the backyard, to the fire pit, to burn them all. What a nightmare. I mean, these bags were heavy. They were loaded with lonely pine needles. So I did it. I burned them all. And then, you know, I started Googling on the internet to see like if people use these for anything. And the basket weaving came up. And because I never seen pine needles that were 20 inches long and they look like a horsetail. Here's a tree that collapsed. These needles are short. If these were long needles, I would take them and put them in the yard and put them out to dry. But they're barely 13 inches, if that. Yeah, they're barely as long as my shoe. Yeah, they're like 13-inch needles because it's bent. So I don't know. I wouldn't bother with them. To me, they're too short because they're really like 11, 10-inch. I only picked 13-inch and put them needles. I would have to wait. It would take 6 weeks for them to dry out. They can't weave with green needles. They cannot weave with them. They shrink, and if they make something, it'll shrink. And then when it shrinks, it gets loose. So if they weave a basket, and the needles shrink, the basket will be all flimsy. Whatever they weave a mat that hangs on the wall. When the needles shrink and turn brown, the mat will be all loose and they won't be tightly woven. So, and I was weaving the Native American Indians. I don't know how they did this, but they actually weave these, and you could Google it yourself. But they weaved these and they made it so tight that they could hold water in the lonely pine needles. It would be like something to hold water inside of it. So I don't know exactly how they did it, but I Googled it and I was surprised. I was like, what? You know, because they made like a canteen with these lonely pine needles. I mean, because they weaved backpacks. They did a lot of things with these lonely pine needles for hundreds of years. I mean, you know, before there were any motor vehicles or anything, or, you know, before years ago, a long time ago, I mean, they weaved all kinds of stuff with these, you know, and I was amazed. I mean, people do weave with stuff. They weave with tree vines, with vines from the trees. They weave with different types of grass. But these lonely pine needles are very popular, and it's a big market. And I have one customer that trains people to weave baskets, and they pay her a fee. And she'll buy a few pounds off of me once a month, not a lot. And I think she gives each person a couple ounces or something, and she teaches them how to weave baskets, because it only takes a couple ounces to weave a basket. The baskets ain't big, they're small. And she teaches the people how to weave baskets, and she charges them a fee, and she makes money. It's her way of making money. And she buys off me religiously every month. And then I have people out in California that have stores that I don't know if they're near an Indian reservation or if what they're near, because I know the Indians weave tons of stuff with these, and they sell trinkets and all kinds of things that they make with these lonely pine needles. And people buy them, they're fascinated by the artwork. And this one person I have that has a store, she'll buy 10 or 12 pounds off me. And then a month later, or sometimes 2 months, she'll buy another 10 or 12 pounds. And I'm like, how could she possibly use that amount? She must have She must have a few people working with her, and they must be weaving things that they sell over and over again. And she must have a store or something, or probably a good size store. Because, I mean, 12 pounds of lonely pine needles is a good amount of lonely pine needles. It's thousands. There's 50 pine needles in 1 ounce. And then there's 3 on each prong, so it's 150 needles. But there's 3 lonely pine needles in 1 ounce. And there's 50 lonely pine needles in 1 ounce. 50 to 55. And in a pound, there's like 8 times 400 to 450 lonely pine needles in not a pound, in an 8-ounce roll. Now, in a pound, it could be anywhere from 800 to 1,000. Well, so if somebody goes a pound off of me, they're buying almost 1,000 lonely pine needles. And if somebody buys 2 pounds, they're buying 2,000 lonely pine needles. And if somebody buys 10 pounds, they're buying 10,000 lonely pine needles. And each pine needle has 3 needles in one. So, I mean, they're buying a lot of long, and these are long. And because they're long, they can weave with them for a long time. Because some people weave with the small 5-inch needles, but they have to keep changing them out because they can't go too far with them. They run out. It's almost like somebody trying to sew something, and they got a piece of thread that's only 5 inches long. Well, if they got a piece of thread that's 10 or 20 inches long, they could sew a lot more before they have to switch them out. So that's why people like the lonely pine needles. And I'm a supplier, and I've been doing this for 5 years, and I move 100, it averages out to 100 pounds a month. And the reason it averages out to 100 pounds a month is because one week I'll sell like 20 pounds, and then the next week I'll sell 30. And by the end of the month, it comes out to 100 pounds, if not more. And that's just the way it works. And I've been doing this. When I first started doing this, I was only selling a pound or 2 a week. And I was getting the straggler customers that would complain about, the ones that complain about everything. I mean, sometimes you run across them people, and I didn't have a base. And I just had people that were, they'd buy them, they would just testing the waters with me. And it was kind of tough, And then after a while, I kept selling, and a year went by, and I got some feedback, and I sold a little more the following year. Then I started getting good regular customers that were good people. And another year went by, and I got more good customers. And then I was moving 10, 15 pounds a week, or 10 pounds a week. And then within the 3rd year, I was moving 10, 15 pounds a week. And now, fast forward 5 years, I'm doing 100 pounds a week. And last year, I was doing 100 pounds a week. It was at my average. But I was doing last year between 80 and 100. But it all worked out to 100, because if I did 80 one month, the next month I did 120. So it came out to 1,000 pounds a month. So, but when I first started, it was very slow, and my wife was very skeptical, and she was like, this guy, I said, it's working, and gradually it picked up. And now I have a big customer base, a lot of people. Every once in a while, you do get the people that they want to complain, they want to get money, they want to get something for free. You know how that goes. That's with all businesses, You're going to get people that want stuff for free. And they're going to try to play a little game with you. The tips of the needle got bent in the box because they were too long for the box, or something silly, And that's once in a great while you get the customers. And normally what I say is, hey, look at my feedback in my store. I mail all my orders in them boxes, and they go priority, and it's unlimited weight. And nobody complains. Everybody loves my needles. And you're the only one that complains. And then they shut up. But you get scammers, and they try to scam you. And I sold on a lot of different websites, and I know the game. I know I had people with the books too when I was doing eBay a little bit. And I had some people trying to tell me like I had the book bubble wrapped and double cardboard and everything, and somehow the book got damaged. And how could the book get damaged? And they're trying to tell me this book got damaged. Or look at it, and and that's the. And I pulled off, I got off the sites where you get the people that are looking for something for nothing. So I don't, or, you need to build a base up. So you need to build the base up and expect that everybody's not, you're not going to get all good customers, but you are going to get customers. So just go with the flow, and you can do it. You can pick lonely pine needles just like me. And right now I have all good customers, and I'm very satisfied. And like I said, once in a great while, I'll get a customer that'll complain. And that's with anything. That's with any business. I had other businesses over the years. I did mason work. I had an HVAC business. I did a floor waxing business. I used to do the big shopping stores. I went to school for HVAC. I went to school for mason work. I went to school. I could read schematics, electrical diagrams, and I did all that stuff. I drove a tractor trailers over the road. I traveled all over the country, up and down the East Coast. I worked with Western Express. I got over 1 million miles in my pocket, driving a big truck. I went to New York City a lot. I went to a lot of places where you shouldn't be going with a big truck. I went out to Chicago. I went down to Florida. I went to Georgia. I went up to Maine. I was all over the country. Out to Texas. Yeah. I did a lot of tractor trailer driving. I enjoyed it. The last company I worked with was Western Express. And I love Western Express. It's a very good company. And any of you guys ever want to drive a tractor trailer, there's big money in it now. If you're not obligated where you have to be home all the time. I did it in my later years where, it was all right. Because I was out a couple of weeks at a time, sometimes a month at a time. But when I came home, I was making good, super money. You make good money driving a big truck. A lot of money to be made. And now it's even higher. It's a great thing to do. I did it. I loved it. And whatever you do, if you do that, don't get your own truck. Because the trucks are expensive to keep up, the maintenance. So I'm talking about a tractor trailer. I'm not talking about a little straight truck. I'm talking about a truck that's, you're pulling a 53-foot trailer and you got a tractor. And when you're hooked together, you're 65 feet. Yeah, that's a bit. And when you're in the city and you gotta forget it, you gotta drive around 5 miles to turn around sometimes. But yeah, there's good money in this longleaf pine needle stuff. I've been doing it for a long time. I love doing it. I'm my own boss. I come out here, pick on my own time. But sometimes it gets hairy, and I gotta pick. I try to pick at least 25 pounds a week so I could keep up with my orders. Once in a while, I'll manage to pick 40 pounds in a week. Like right now, I could probably pick 40 pounds because it's perfect weather for it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And check out my gemstone thing. Check out my books thing. I talk about books and how you can make money selling books or buying books. Buying used books at a thrift store for $1 and finding a book that's signed by an ex-president or something and sell it for $300. Find a book that's signed by a famous golf player, sell it for $100. Find a book that's a rare book and sell it for $100. And it happens, and people donate the books to the thrift store. People had a relative passed away, Uncle Harry or whoever, somebody passed away and they got the house and they got to get all the books out of the house and put the house up for sale, and they just donate all the books. They don't even look at them. And I come along, I go in a thrift store, I'm opening these books up and they're signed, they're rare books, there's none around. People are telling me, I'll give you $100 for that book. And I already know what to put them up for. And they move fast. And that's a good way to make money, guys. And the other way to make money is now I'm gemstone hunting. Check out my videos, gemstones. I'm doing really well. I'm very happy with the gemstone thing. I'm having a blast. I didn't start listing them yet, but I'm very close. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 pounds. Then they're going to be listed. And then I'll just sit back and I'll just put them up. They're going to go on a different site, a different place. I'm going to have a store all set up for them. And they're going to sell. They're going to sell online, just like the books and the Lonely Pine Needles. But they're not going to be in the store with the Lonely Pine Needles. The store with the Lonely Pine Needles, if you go and look in my profile here on YouTube, you'll see I have the store, my Etsy store, E-T-S-Y. E as in Eddie, T as in Tom, S as in Sam, Y as in Yarn. And you'll see my store there, and I sell books there and Lonely Pine Needles. Well, I'm not going to put my rocks in there. I'm going to sell them on a different website, or I'm going to have a different store, and I'll have to use a different browser to, instead of clocking in and out. You know how that works. So if I have two different browsers, I could go into one store, and then I could bounce in the browser, go in the other store, and see if I'm in the same store, if I don't use a different store. I'm not sure yet, but I got a large stockpile of gemstones. And it's only a matter of time where I list them. And right now, it's money sitting in the bank. It's just sitting there waiting to go up online and get sold. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. And there's big money in this Lonely Pine Needle stuff. They only grow in zones 7, 8, and 9.